Hello, my name is Nicholas Rosas. This is my persuasive speech on the importance of taking antibiotics as ordered. A little bit of an introduction. Antibiotics are medications that are meant to fight bacterial infections. They only work on bacterial infections, and they do save millions of lives every year from infections. Um, I have a bit of a background here. I'm an LVN. I've worked in this field for 6 years. I've seen antibiotics work. I've seen them not work. I've seen them prescribed with success, with side effects. I've seen doctors not want to use them. I've seen doctors that overuse them, some that are really reluctant, which makes sense because they are being overused. Some doctors prescribe these medications um, when it's not necessary, when someone's having a viral infection, when someone's having a cold, when someone's having a flu. Those aren't times to give these medications. Um, those are times to kind of ride it out and treat the symptoms. Uh, so, as I move on for my persuasive speech, I kind of want to share some facts and some statistics with you about kind of the prevalence of overuse of antibiotics and why they're importantly needed, but have to be taken correctly and given correctly. So, a couple of facts here from the CDC. I want to start off with this statistic here. It says antibiotics are being prescribed unnecessarily because, as you see here, according to CDC, 28% of antibiotic prescriptions are unnecessary. That's a more than a quarter. So, I mean, that alone shows you that it's not being prescribed as it should be, which is helping to make things worse, which is helping the people to think that they don't need to be taken as ordered as needed. So they don't work, like I said, they work, like I said earlier, they work on bacteria, but they don't work on viruses. They don't work on colds. They don't work on the flu. They don't work on everything. They're not a cure-all like everyone thinks. And when they're overused like that, and when they're not taken like they're supposed to be taken, what happens is a super infection. So the way that starts is someone comes home or comes to the ER, I'm sorry, they have a wound. They go home, they have orders to treat it, it becomes infected, they get antibiotics for that wound. They don't take it like they're supposed to. They skip a dose here, skip a dose there. Well, they complete the cycle, but they ended up skipping 1 or 2 doses for 1 or 2 days. That leads to complications. That leads to problems. Although it's a small problem, he still finished them. He didn't maintain the levels he needed to fight that bacteria. So, what'll end up happening is he'll need a stronger bacteria or antibiotic to fight the bacteria. So that's how superbugs are formed. Those stronger bacterias that become more antibiotic resistant are these super infections. Examples are MRSA. Um, Another one is C. diff. Nasty bacterial infections that you don't want to be any part of. Um, we're working, the CDC is working to reduce unnecessary antibiotic use, but the way that people can, or the way that you can participate in helping that is taking them as orders. So say there's ever a situation where you need to take antibiotics. You have to take them exactly as it says on the pill bottle, whether once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, 1 to 2 pills a day, 3 pills a day, however many it is. If you don't follow it, key word for word, like a guideline, what will end up happening is you'll create a super infection for yourself where you'll have to take more antibiotics. Oral antibiotics are the first step. You want to stay there. You hopefully it'll work. For some people, it doesn't. The next step from there is IV antibiotics, which are very strong and come with a lot of side effects. You do not want to be involved with those. You only want to have them if you absolutely need to. So I would suggest staying away from that and taking the first step, taking that first step like you're supposed to avoid complications. I had a patient once that started off with a small wound on his right leg, about the size of a quarter. He was diabetic, so you know that comes with easy infections, got an infection, took antibiotics, took them the right way. That particular antibiotic didn't seem to help. So he took another one, stronger one. Didn't take it the way he was supposed to, was kind of frustrated by that first experience, kind of jaded, which is understandable. Ended up needing an even stronger antibiotic. The next antibiotic didn't work as well because he didn't take the other one the right way. So the bacteria became stronger, ended up getting admitted to the ER, um, fought the infection with IV antibiotics, ended up having tons of other side effects. I think he spent about 2 weeks in the hospital, came home, was given more antibiotics again after all of that, didn't take them as ordered, ended up going back to the ER, became septic. When you're septic, that means that you have a bacterial infection in your blood, uh, which is very scary, very real. He ended up passing away because of that. So I like to tell that story so that you people kind of understand the severity and the importance of taking antibiotics as you're supposed to prevent those issues. I mean, they're easily avoidable, they're necessary. Uh, Having deaths in the modern day from antibiotics is scary to think about. Seems like something from the past, but it is a big issue. Not a lot of people know that antibiotics have a cutoff date. They have an expiration date. One day they won't work anymore. We have such a big population that uses them so much, the antibiotics become less and less effective. The bacteria become more and more strong, and there's no real solution in sight, really, which is kind of scary to think about. Where there may be bacterial infections one day that you'll catch that once you know you have, that's it. It's just the death sentence. You're just waiting to die. It's horrifying. It's cold. It's brutal, but that's a fact. So, in order to prolong that and push that off as far as we can until we can figure out a solution, taking antibiotics as orders is really the only way to go. Um, there's a lot of myths about antibiotics that they help fix things that, oh, I just need antibiotics. Every time I get a flu, my doctor gives me antibiotics. I hope that's not true. I hope when I hear that, which I hear a lot, I hope it's not true. I hope they confuse cough medicine, steroids with antibiotics, which can happen, happens more than you think. But uh, it just depends. And, and the one thing about antibiotics is that they're necessary. We need them to fight. They've saved millions of lives. Like I said, they're responsible for saving millions of lives. Without them, we wouldn't have uh, a lot of people in our lives. So, in conclusion, you just want to stress here the importance of taking antibiotics as ordered if you're ever given them. Take them like it says on the bottle. Don't take any risks. Just because you feel better doesn't mean you are better. That bacteria is in there, just not as strong. You want to really knock it out and do the right thing and take it as ordered. That is my speech. I hope you take it to heart and I hope you really value that and I hope you really apply the advice. Thank you. Have a good one.